Alright, this is my Linux desktop, and I'm showing this to you because you may be considering moving to an alternative to Windows 11 if you don't particularly want to upgrade, or your current hardware is new enough and too good and too expensive to throw away but doesn't meet the requirements for Windows 11. And the particular version that I like, and I highly recommend it to anybody coming from the Windows world, because it looks and behaves a lot like Windows. It's a very simple, straightforward desktop, and you can see here this is called Linux Mint, and it's based on a very popular distribution of Linux that's very stable. And I don't have to worry about messing around with device drivers or whatever. It comes packaged with all the software I need. Plus, it's very easy to load additional software packages. So the desktop with icons, quick launch bar, system tray over here, very similar to Windows. Instead of the Windows button, it has the Linux Mint button, and this gives me the menu into all of my applications that are loaded here. And it comes loaded with a full bunch to start with. It has Firefox, and I think I had to download Chrome, but that's easy to do. I also have Chromium, and now Windows Edge does not work on Linux, nor does earlier versions of Internet Explorer. But all the other browsers, Opera, Brave, they're all available for Linux. It comes loaded with Office. You can have an Office suite on it. These Office suites, OpenOffice or LibreOffice, I think Libre comes standard pretty much with any distribution of Linux, and it can save files in Microsoft Office format, so you can read and save files in that format should you need to do that for your business or whatever. Games are available. One of the easiest ways, one of the things I really like about Linux Mint is the software manager that comes with it. It's a grouping of programs, several hundred programs in fact, in various categories, and you can just pick whatever it is that you want and load it. Now, if you happen to have a particular Windows program that you just cannot part with, there's better than even chance that it will run in a Windows emulation package called Wine. It doesn't run every Windows program, but it runs a good majority of them. So odds are that you can run your program inside this Wine emulator. But you're going to find, with just a little bit of cruising around on the internet, probably an application that runs natively on Linux that duplicates the functionality of any particular Windows program. And many of the populars out there, VLC Media Player runs on all three major platforms, as does FTP tools like FileZilla, the main browsers, and all like Audacity, a great audio editor if you're into editing your own audio, and video editing. I use OpenShot. These are all open source free programs, by the way. I don't think I've ever paid for a Linux program. They're all open source, which means that the source code is readily available to you. And lastly, I want to show you, tell you, how do you try out Linux without necessarily installing it on your computer? You can go to the Linux Mint site, or if you want some other distribution, and download the file that has live CD or DVD in it, and it's generally an ISO file. You can burn that on your burner, create a CD or a DVD, and then boot your machine to it, and you'll be up and running in that distribution of Linux without it being installed on your hard drive. You can also create a bootable USB drive that way, so there's another way to experience Linux without actually installing it. And a third way is to burn that live CD or DVD or use the USB. And generally from those you can install to your hard drive. And Linux is Windows Smart. It will, during the first part of the installation process, feel around on the hard drive and recognize the fact that you have Windows loaded there and ask you if you want to share. And you can, with a simple little slider control, you can choose the percentage of hard drive you want to allow for Windows versus Linux, and so it'll hog out some space on your hard drive. And you are now dual booting, which means that when you turn on your computer, you have your option as to whether to boot into Windows or boot into Linux. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. This is just a brief whirlwind tour of Linux, and watch some YouTube about it. I'll give you more information.